When I think about Mr. Byers, I think about how he's always there for us. When I first came to Christ Church, he knew my name even before I came. He's always present, whether it be at breakfast, sign-in, a home game, or when he's walking around with his corgis.
I think of traditions like the Christmas party Mr. and Mrs. Byers throw for the faculty children every year.
My favorite time at Christ Church was when Mr. Byers introduced us at graduation and said a memory about all of us.
Ashton Wilcox, without a question, the first student in the history of the school to champion and pass a piece of legislation while still in high school.
Jeb, I met you in 1989 when you were hired as a Latin teacher. Then soon after, you worked in publications and development office. Then soon you were the Dean of Students and then Director of Admissions. And then one day you showed up in my office to tell me you had accepted your next chapter as head of school. You had knocked all the positions out of the park. You had been a home run hitter for 33 years. I enjoyed the many miles by car and by air travel with you to visit our wonderful alumni, past parents, and friends of Christ Church.
Jeb Byers and I have known each other for 27 years. We've been professional colleagues and have become close personal friends. When I came to Christ Church School in the fall of 1995 as a result of a leadership vacuum with a charge to help the school regain its footing, I met Jeb Byers and immediately formed the impression that this was a highly talented, very versatile individual. He'd held multiple positions at the school, performed all successfully, and he occupied the all-important Director of Admissions position at the time of my arrival. I recognized him as a great talent. When the time came for me to return to my position as president of church schools, it was abundantly clear to me and to the Board of Governors that we had our next head of school immediately at hand. He has led this school exceedingly well through demographic, financial, and cultural challenges. He has become the longest-serving head in the history of the school. We have been very well served, and we have much for which to be grateful. Thank you, Mr. Byers.
Jeb, with your imagination and collaborative leadership style, you have reshaped the culture and reputation of Christ Church School. With your vision, you created a school where boys and girls can go see the world and learn to make an impact. I know this spring won't be the last where I see you on our sidelines with your trademark orange hat. As you always say, go blue.
I first met Mr. Byers as he was my assigned advisor when I started at the school. Shortly thereafter, he was made headmaster. But I was so happy that he stayed an advisor for our group. We've stayed in touch as I've proceeded through life, and Mr. Byers has always been a great mentor. I feel very fortunate to have had a relationship with him at Christ Church, and am so happy that he was able to influence thousands of students over the past 20 years.
I count myself among the many blessed parents that have had children at Christ Church School under Jeb's leadership. I'll never forget the first time I met Jeb. He knew exactly who my son was and proceeded to tell me all about what he had been doing since we dropped him off at school. The man totally impressed me then and continues to impress me every time I talk with him. Jeb's impact on Christ Church is undeniable, and his impact on our family as well. It is why I am currently serving as the chair of the Board of Governors at Christ Church School, and will continue to be a faithful steward of the school. Christ Church is in my blood, thanks to Jeb.
Jeb has shown me that a leader can make big changes if his heart is in the right place. My children and I are fortunate to have known Jeb, who has shared indelible memories of cannonballing into the marsh on the first immersion trip, and stories of sleeping in a cowshed high in the Himalayas of India. We are blessed to have been loved and led by such a gracious and willing leader.
Well, Jeb, it's hard to explain all the things I'd like to tell you about the last 30 years. All the things you've done, the leadership you've shown to this institution, how you've moved us forward, how you worked with all of my staff and my people to make us feel as responsible and as important as the rest of the community. I wish you and Lexi the best in your next part of your journey.
Nominating Jeb for the Sally K. Byers Award was an easy choice for me because his vision, mission, and program for Christ Church called Great Journeys has served as a model for place-based learning. His work transformed Christ Church and has inspired countless other schools. Jeb has served VAIS as a member of the Accreditation Committee, as chair of multiple accreditation visits, and as the leader for the River Group of Schools. In addition, Jeb is a pastoral presence for so many heads of school. He's a friend to call on, an active listener, and an empathetic colleague. Many of my peers have turned to Jeb in times of stress and crisis. He is an outstanding mentor and welcoming friend to all, and always with sincere humility. Congratulations, Jeb, on this well-deserved honor.
I've worked with Jeb Byers for 19 years, and I can't imagine a better recipient for this award. Jeb has been responsible for running a small boarding school for all that time, and the pressures of balancing the fiscal requirements of keeping a school going, and also the integrity of the program. Sometimes a tough balance to maintain. I've actually worked for 3 heads of school in my career, and Jeb is the only head I've worked for who's managed to be both a good leader and a good manager, and also a really good person.
Jeb, it has been a joy and an honor to work with you over this past decade. You lead by example and have become the heart of this school, an amazing combination of integrity, vision, and optimism. A legacy that will stand Christ Church School in good stead in its 2nd century.
I've been fortunate to know Jeb Byers as a student, as an alum, as an employee at Christ Church, and as my mentor. I'm not alone here. There are countless seahorses that have looked to Jeb Byers for direction and for inspiration, not only as head of school, but as advisor, coach, teacher. As the longest serving head in Christ Church's history, Jeb Byers is true blue. We thank him and we honor him, and we look to him for how we will proceed into our next century.